Welcome to the August 3rd Community Corrections Partnership meeting. I will ask the clerk to call roll and establish a quorum for us.
Good morning. Member Benson?
Present.
Member Sullivan?
Present.
Member Brookins? Member Geller?
Present.
Member Lutz?
Present.
Member Gordon? Member Donnelly?
Here.
Member Cathari?
Here.
Member Leong?
Here.
Member Jones?
Here.
Member Triplett?
Here.
Member Walker?
Here.
And Chair Yarber.
Here. Thank you.
And you have a quorum.
Excellent. I might ask Director Lutz to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this morning.
All right. Please stand. Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Fantastic. Clerk, would you please read the Metro Cable opening statement and the meeting announcement for us?
This meeting of the Sacramento County Community Correction Partnership is being cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on Comcast, Consolidated Communications, and AT&T Uverse. This meeting is closed captioned and live streamed at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting will replay on Saturday, August 5th at 2 p.m. on Channel 14. This meeting can also be viewed at youtube.com/MetroCable14. The partnership fosters public engagement during the meetings and encourages public participation, civility, and use of courteous language. To make a public comment in person, please fill out a speaker request form and hand it to clerk staff. The chairperson will open public comments for each agenda item or call for off-agenda matters. When the chairperson calls your name, go to the podium and make your comment. To make a public comment by phone, dial 916-875-2500 and follow the prompts to be placed in queue for a specific agenda item or off-agenda matter. Clerk staff will transfer each caller in the meeting. You may be on hold for up to an extended period of time and your patience is appreciated. You may send written comments by email to boardclerk@saccounty.gov. Your comment will be routed to the members and filed in the record. Thank you in advance for your courtesy and understanding of the meeting procedures.
Great, thank you. I have no opening comments today or any statements, but I'll turn to the rest of the partnership, see if anyone has any announcements or anything interesting that you want to share. I see none in the queue, no one raising their hands. Thank you. Let me then turn back to our clerk and ask you to read item 1 into the record for us.
Item 1 is Community Corrections Partnership Advisory Board Update.
And I believe our management analyst, Laura Foster, good morning, is here to help walk us through this item.
Good morning, Chief and
Morning.
members of the partnership. We're glad you're all here this morning. Just wanted to give you a brief update from the Community Corrections Partnership Advisory Board that really is going to feed into our second agenda item here today. So there's going to be a little bit of overlap. The CCPAB has met twice. Most of the work that we have been doing is preparing to bring you the draft of the AB 109 plan that we're going to share with you today. Just wanted to give you a teaser of a couple of CCPAB meetings and action items that are going to be coming up. The CCPAB is going to have its next meeting in about 2 weeks. Then we'll be having a community workshop or a community listening session. It'll be a special meeting of the CCPAB specifically designed to seek input on the draft AB 109 plan. And then there'll be a third meeting in September at which we will be hoping to recommend a plan that we can bring back to you in October. We did want to announce that we did have a recent a community member who resigned from the CCPAB, so there will be an opportunity for a vacancy on that board. The CCPAB is also going to revisit its bylaws because our bylaws don't really define the process by which we would fill that vacancy, so we want to do some work on there and potentially introduce some other procedures and provisions that we would bring back to you at our next meeting. That's all I have from the CCPAB.
Great. Any discussion or questions from members of the partnership? See none, no hands, no one in the queue. Clerk, are there any public comments for this item?
We have no public comments.
No public comments. All right. Let's close public comment if there's no one interested, and move to item number 2. If you're ready, clerk, let us know.
One moment, they're saying that there is one person in the
Oh,
queue.
great. I'm glad I paused.
Can you please send the commenter down? Oh, now they're saying they dropped off, so there is no comment. Sorry.
No worries, no worries. Better to be safe than sorry. Well, then let's close public comment and move on to item number 2. Would you please read it into the record for us?
Item 2 is overview and discussion of draft AB 109 Plan 2023 update.
Excellent. And as alluded to previously, Laura, would you please walk us through item number 2?
Absolutely. So it is my pleasure to bring you the preliminary first draft of our AB 109 Plan 2023 update. As you all know, in 2020, the laws changed, and we now have to provide an annual update to this plan every single year. So it kind of becomes the drumbeat by which we operate these meetings, and our goal every year is to continually improve that plan. Last year was my first year working with this group and working with the CCPAB, and it was a great introduction to to really understand what some of our members are passionate about, and it was clear that they are a very passionate board, the Community Corrections Partnership Advisory Board, and appropriately so. We have people both from our community who are on the board and both members of the public who care deeply about improving our justice system, and it has been a real privilege to get to work with that group and to also get to see from an agency side how we can work together to build the plan that works for all of us. So in seeking to build this plan, I wanted to cover some of our guiding principles. It was to make the plan more approachable, make it easy to read, which meant shortening it substantially, and making it so that it would become, when our agencies go to do their budgeting processes and our planning processes, that they actually have a guidebook that's easy to follow, that says, hey, here's some of the things that our community cares about. We also wanted it to be accurate. We wanted to make sure that it wasn't overly broad, that it was really aligned with what our members' priorities were. Our previous plan was all-inclusive, I will say, but there's a limited pot of funds that come with AB 109 money, and at the end of the day, we could not fund everything. So our goal was to help this plan move in a direction that, as we move forward, it can make sure that it's reasonable in terms of not stretching itself too far, but still allowing it to be flexible and innovative. We also wanted it to really clarify exactly what was eligible. This is just easier for our departments who are going to be submitting reimbursement claims and who are putting together budget proposals. The goal is to just clearly define, here's what can be reimbursed and here's what can't. And we're taking a step in that direction this year with this plan. The third overall goal was accountability. We have really great partners here, but there was no mechanism by which anyone was required to submit anything beyond their costs. So the goal this year was to introduce some measures that our departments and all the recipient agencies, when they're submitting their quarterly claims and during an annual basis, would have to submit some additional information. Where there's money, where there's funding, there's strings. And this is introducing a few of those strings while still doing it in an incremental manner and doing it in partnership with these departments with information you already have. We just want to make it easy to share. That's our goal. So our 3 goals of this plan are the same as they were before, with one very small adjustment. First goal is to decrease the use of jail housing by expanding community-based treatment and services. No change there. The second goal is to reduce recidivism, and the language we added was "and returns to custody." As you know, we've discussed recidivism as a concept before with this board, and we did ultimately agree to a definition. But in terms of reporting, that's taking a little longer to get off the ground. But we can report easier on returns to custody, and we're working with a consultant to help do that.
Hey, Laura, are you able to take questions
yes,
while
please,
you're
sorry.
presenting? Just curious, was there any discussion amongst the advisory board about the order of the goals? As I read through the documents, I wondered, third to me seemed first, and maybe an overarching goal for all of us, but just wondered what the comments might have been or the discussion might have entailed.
Yes, actually, that is a really great point, before the order was different. This is a new, a different order of, again, the same. These were never in a priority order before. They were just, here's the three. These are the three that drive us. And one thing that I found, and we acknowledge it in the plan, is we don't have a definition of community safety. And most of our member agencies have a different perspective when it comes to that. And so by having that as the leading element of our plan, sort of created some ambiguity off the bat. But the piece that all of the CCPAB members could really get behind were really the first two. And there's some more measures that we already track more data related to those first two. And with the third one, right now, the only statistic we use is crime data. And is crime data the only indicator of community safety? I'm not sure. And so that's a conversation we would really like to have with the CCP in the future to say, hey, how do we define community safety? What does that mean to us? But recognizing that conversation will probably take quite some time and not something we can reasonably accomplish for this plan year.
Sure. So I did catch, I want to say in the materials, I think what you referenced in the way of a discussion or some assistance with trying to come up with that definition. And I would just remind, I guess, the partnership members that this is also, I think, a recommendation in the making. And so at some point we will have a chance to consider the document as well. So
absolutely, yes,
please continue.
Thank you. So I did want to highlight just some of the big changes. As I mentioned before, it's a lot shorter. So if I were to give you the previous plan and comparing it to this plan, it would be just 100 pages of red. And so that, I figure it's okay to have a fresh start on this in the terms of this plan. There's a few categories of information that were in the previous plan, which were great information, but it wasn't necessarily pertinent to the plan itself. For example, we spent a lot of time talking about the statistics and demographics of our AB 109 population. But in this county, most of the programs that we fund, and somewhat intentionally, don't apply exclusively to our AB 109 population. So if this whole plan were designed just to change the AB 109 population, that would make sense to have in this report. But it was just taking up space and clouding, I guess, the overall purpose. So we just removed some of those things. And it doesn't mean that's not something we're still tracking. It just means it doesn't belong in this plan. So we did, there will be photos and graphics. We didn't have a ton of those last year, but we do want to call on our departments and ask for some assistance to make this report engaging once the final version's available. So just a heads up that I will be asking, if you have a representative on CCPAB, I'll go through them first, but to try to get some photos that can really show some of the work we're doing in addition to us talking about it. We do have fewer eligible expense categories, so that is a change this year. Last year's eligible categories, I think there were 20 of them. Now I think there are 13, maybe less, 14 of them. And some of them, last year, one of the categories is now 2 categories in this year's plan. So there was a little bit of back and forth on that. There's nothing that was eligible under last year's plan in terms of that was actually funded that isn't being funded now. So everything that was funded is still able to be funded. But this report also addresses some of the budget challenges not challenges, but the process changes we've had, and acknowledges just what we've gone through as a county to try to make some progress in ensuring that more people are eligible for funding, and that it's not distributed, say, in some percentage formula, that it's based on need and alignment with the plan. So we've taken some steps to do that, and this plan acknowledges that. It also discusses, I think for the first time, the supplanting concern. We've heard from the community a desire to, wholesale rip up what we've funded in the past from AB 109 and fund it with different things. Well, we can't go back and fund programs that are already being funded with county dollars with AB 109 money. That would be supplanting. So as we think it moving forward, if we want to make changes to what's being funded, you either have to make an expense no longer eligible, or programs have to self-correct. Because at the end of the day, most of the money is going, revenues are going down, right? Most of the money is already spoken for. So there's limited room at the top. And I did just want to call out and really appreciate some of our departments this year who really took a hard look and said, hey, do we really need all of this? Can we free it up? And several of the departments did that, which helped us make some changes this year. This also introduces program evaluations, which have yet to be developed, and that's clear in the plan. That's going to be a next step for the CCPAB and CCP. But it's going to be asking those agencies to do a report back, and that report back would have sufficient space for departments to really talk about what they're doing that's working really well, perhaps specific success stories they're seeing, and to identify what their challenges are in the future. It's not meant to be a hard thing that says, yes, we will keep funding this, or no, we won't. It's meant to just say, hey, we already know you're doing great work, tell us about it, and creating a form that we can standardize that a little bit. And then, as I acknowledged earlier, the quarterly reimbursement process for I as your analyst is the only time that I get to review anything and say, hey, I need more information, or I don't. Right now, it's a pretty simple process to submit. Just here's my claim, here's my dollars, we process it over. And so this plan asks for a little bit more information with those quarterly updates so that I can then come back to you and come back to the CCPAB and say, hey, here's what was spent this quarter, here's what it was spent on. Because right now I can say, here's what was spent this quarter. I have a little harder time answering the second question. And then the last piece of the puzzle is that this plan is, we've been building this for several years, but more community input and outreach. And as I mentioned, we're going to be having the upcoming listening session. We're actually going to post this plan for the public to comment on for about a month. So we're doing more of that intentional outreach to just try to get people to read it and give us some feedback. And I would much rather get that feedback during the development process than after we have a product that's been approved, but perhaps isn't in alignment with community goals. So we want to give plenty of opportunities for people to be heard. Yes.
Sorry, on that note, just as I was reading through the draft, one area where I had a question, just a suggestion, maybe more appropriate. I recall from our last partnership meeting, the discussion of the focus groups, the feedback that we got, and I remember vividly the discussion here around the number one answer being, nothing would have helped, maybe prevented the individual from entering into a life of crime. And it just felt like, as I read, I want to say on page 7, some of the language, it felt like we were just kind of skirting around that huge takeaway for me, at least. And, I don't know necessarily how others feel, but it was like, I felt like we should call that out perhaps more in the narrative that's in the document. But just a suggestion.
Absolutely, thank you. Yeah, we
Sure.
did reference the sobriety piece, which was the other thing that was the high
Correct.
level there, but we can acknowledge that as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, sorry, this is a big slide with a lot of information, but this is the heart of the plan this year. So you'll notice when you read through the plan, the first couple pages really just give you a background and talk about our goals, all that. But when we get into the nitty-gritty, this is what we're calling the program and service inventory. It's breaking down those eligible expenses in a way that, again, designed to be as clear as possible, with the recognition it's probably going to take us a few years of doing this plan to get it even clearer. But we just wanted to resolve departments' questions or concerns about, is this eligible? I didn't want to be in the position where I, as your analyst, was interpreting that on my own. I wanted it to be clear from the plan itself and to speak with the voice of the CCP. Rather than having to come back to you every time I have a question. So make the plan as clear as possible. That's the goal. So there are 2 categories of eligible services. One that is limited just to the AB 109 population, and that is your use of jail housing, it's your supervision for AB 109 offenders, and your correctional health services for AB 109 offenders. So making sure that we are still allowing space in our funding to cover those expenses. The second category is available to anyone who would qualify for that program. Those that are listed there. The goal is to arrange those by priority. That's something that the CCPAB is going to be revisiting at their August 14th meeting. They're looking at that list, the B list of items, and they're ranking them because we wanted, while there aren't harsh limits that say, hey, collaborative courts are capped at $5 million, or, there's nothing like that we can give some of those teeth for our budget committee. At least we can say, hey, the top priority was this. So if there's additional funding, please support this. So that was we're introducing this prioritization for the first time. And while, of course, that list will come from the CCPAB, when we come back to you in October, if the CCP has different priorities than have been expressed, that is in your right to rearrange. But we did want to make that in something of an order. So as you're reading through, you're like, why are these in the place they are? That's why. They were based on some preliminary conversations, but we're going to have that conversation again on August 14th. So inside each of these inventory items, there's a description of what the program is, if we know the evidence base, putting it there, and then talking about what's happened recently with this program. Our department representatives who are on the CCPAB are going hard through these sections right now. They just saw the first draft of the plan on Monday, so they're all working furiously to help us make some of those corrections and say, hey, how can we make this the most up-to-date and make it more concise if possible. We also added something that was really important to me, which is to say, hey, how does this align with the overall goals of the plan? Which goals does this serve? Because if it doesn't serve one of those goals, perhaps it doesn't belong in this plan. Or we need to revisit our goals. Those are two ways to approach that. So that was an important piece. Then clearly identifying who is eligible for reimbursement, who provides services within that kind of area or bucket who could submit a growth request for those services. And then finally, then there's the reimbursement restrictions. Again, we've kind of talked about that, which is what are the limits on this, if any? Those come into play more with the Category A items, where we wanted to be super clear how we're limiting it to the AB 109 population, how we're calculating that, and we worked with our department reps to help make sure it wouldn't conflict with how they're currently doing some of those billing processes. And then finally, one you'll see that is highlighted in blank on every page is the outcomes for annual program evaluation, which will also be discussed this next meeting of the CCPAB. One of the things in our last plan is we had a really long list of metrics, but we didn't necessarily start with the agencies who were giving these services and say, hey, when you built this program, what did you think it was supposed to do? What were your goals with this? And then going to the community and saying, hey, is there something that's missing here? Is there something more that can be done? But we want to introduce the idea of a few accountability measures, a few outcome-based measures for each of these items. And I'm saying a few, ideally 3 or less. So that we don't overly burden the departments and say, hey, you need to track all these things you've never tracked before. That's not the goal. You already have an idea of what success is. You're already measuring it in some way. Let's just bring that to the table here and make it clear to both the public, to our internal members, and really make it easy for me to share as well. So that is something that is in development, and we are fully open to please coordinate with if you have a representative on the CCPAB. If not, please reach out. We want to hear some input from you on those things. Next is a new category. So even though we cut a lot of things, and again, we didn't really cut a lot of things, a lot of them just overlapped with each other, and we provided some simplification and clarity. There's a new category that's B11 currently, and that is essentially we recognize that our plan gets approved for this body in October, but it's kind of August, September that we're sort of wrapping up, but the budget process isn't until next June. Things come up between now and then that could really serve the overall goals of this plan that we're just not aware of. And we felt like just strictly limiting the list of what we have here could prevent some great idea from getting out there. So our goal was to create something and have the CCP be the check mechanism to say, if there's an additional program or some specific service that's not otherwise covered in one of these categories, that department could come to you at a CCP meeting and say, hey, here's how this proposal supports the goals of the plan. Would you be willing to make it an allowable expense? And to kind of create that process through which additional things can be introduced. And so that was the goal of that. So then we get to the really long list.
Laura, just going back
Yes.
one slide, have there been any discussions or are there ideas already floating around? And I don't know if you're at liberty to share yet at this point.
Yeah, nothing specific has come up. I've seen things over the years where it just wasn't clear exactly, well, is that this item or is that this item? And here, because we're even taking a little bit of a firmer stance of, no, this is what this item means, there's going to be things that just don't fit, right?
Fit.
So if we say wanted to create a new building in the community that served just the justice population for some specific service, that would be really hard to fit with one of our current categories, clearly, and that's the part is clarity. If it doesn't fit clearly, then it needs confirmation from the CCP. But there could, again, we just want to make space for those programs. There's a lot of work happening with the county's jail population reduction plans. There's a lot of work happening in many, many circles with great ideas. And to have a plan that is so set in stone, 9-10 months in advance that it can't address some of those things, I think is a limitation we don't need to put on ourselves.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Going the wrong way. Okay, so in the plan itself, you'll see this called 2024 Planning Priorities. And as I was reading down the list, I go, well, this is going to take 5 years. So I think thinking more of it as future planning initiatives. These are just things that have come up either through the writing and drafting of this plan or just in CCPAB meetings where it was, hey, we don't really have space for it in this plan, but how can we acknowledge that it's something we want to look at in the future? And this is something where I think, while the list is already quite long, I think it's going to get even longer from what we hear from community member input. Because we want to create a space that's kind of like a parking lot that says, hey, we hear you, we understand that's important to you. There isn't room in this plan with our timelines that we have, but we want to acknowledge that that's future work we want to look into. So it's creating that space of helping us build a plan, our pathway to next year. What are the things we want to make sure we do? I think there's going to be a few of these that ultimately we're going to say, hey, here's going to be the top 3 or 4 for 2024, and then here's some additional years' work. But we don't have a multi-year process here. We have a 1-year plan every time. And so that'll be just something we have to play with language. But so I'm going to go down that list and just, if you have feedback, welcome to it. As we discussed, defining community safety. What does that look like? Second thing would be to add SMART objectives for our overarching goals. We have these goals, but we don't have targets or really a lot of specifics with them, so that would be a goal. As we discussed, developing that performance evaluation form, or program evaluation form. Expanding data access and reporting, that's something that's already being worked on from the county side. Improving the transparency of our funding allocation expenses, and that's going to happen over time as we introduce those changes to the quarterly claiming process, but there's a few other options to expand that as well. One of the things that's come up is really how do we support a lot of our CBOs that are doing great work for the justice-involved communities, but they aren't always tied to current county initiatives and projects. And so just seeing, hey, is it reasonable or feasible to introduce some kind of mechanism that would create space for that? They would still have to have their contracts through a county agency, of course, but can we hear new things from the community? The idea, as I mentioned already, of considering funding limits or restrictions of, per person, per program, or for, this is how many dollars we want to invest in this type of program. So it could help our budget team as they move forward, rather than just continuing to put more funding on things that are already being funded. What are the right funding levels for each of those things? And that will take a long time to work through. A topic that came up a lot at the CCPAB this year was restorative justice and wanting to learn more about that and elevating the voices of crime survivors. Racial disparities came up, and recognizing that this board is not necessarily the place to look at all disparities across the justice system, but we can look at those in the AB 109 population. We can look at those served by AB 109 programs, and having that be a starting point for perhaps some changes in the future. And then, too, as we acknowledged, build on information from the jail population reduction plans and the working groups that are doing great things. We've got an assessments team that's looking at that could change the way we do things. We've got a booking alternatives group that's doing things. There's a lot of work happening in this county, and we want to make sure this plan is always looking back to our other county partners, and that our plan is in alignment with what the county is doing as a whole, and consistent with what our justice partners see as the future. So we touched on this a little bit, but I just wanted to put it in a graphic form, which is how are we going to get from here to December 15 when we turn in this report to the BSCC? So obviously today we're presenting this draft plan for your comments and feedback, and we're going to be posting it online probably by end of day tomorrow. We've got the next CCPAB coming up, and so these are all opportunities for community input along the way too. August 21st is that community input or listening session, the special meeting of the CCPAB. September 4th is going to be the deadline to submit written comments to the plan. September 11th, we'll be reviewing those comments at the CCPAB and recommending a plan for your approval. October 5th, we'll come to you seeking approval. And November 7th is our targeted date for the Board of Supervisors to seek acceptance of the plan. And then December 15th would be our deadline to submit to the BSCC. And at that time, we submit, of course, the plan, but also the annual reporting requirements that we have to do. So that's where we're heading. This plan may look a lot different when we come back to you in October. I expect the bones to be the same. We don't want any surprises, right? We don't want to put a plan in front of you that you're seeing really for the first time. That's not a great way of doing business. We want you to come alongside us as we make some improvements to this plan over the next couple months. So we are open to hearing from you for your suggestions, things we should do differently, things we can do better, either here in this room or submitted through comments. And we just really thank you for your feedback, because we really want this plan to be approved by all of you when we come back in October and be something that all of our partners can support. So, thank you.
Well, appreciate that. And if I didn't say it, thank you for all your efforts to synthesize, I think, the discussions that are likely happening amongst the advisory board members. And it shows in the readability of the document, at least from my perspective. I'll turn to the rest of the partnerships if there are any comments or questions at this point.
I have one, Chair.
Sure.
So just
Member Jones.
Thank you. Question has come up a couple times, so just for clarification, you're the analyst for the CCP. You're not a member of the CCP advisory board, but you are their staff assigned to them through the CCP, correct?
That's correct,
Good.
yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I support both this board and the CCPAB and anything those groups need, and also as it relates to the Public Safety and Justice Agency, of course.
Got it. Any other questions? Comments? All right, Clerk, let me turn to you to see if there's any public comment on this item.
We have no public comment.
All right, we shall then close the comment. Thank you all, appreciate it, and we'll obviously be paying attention to that item and look forward to hearing the recommendation as the timeline transpires that you just described. Let's turn to item 3. Clerk, would you read item 3 into the record for us?
Item 3 is public comment on non-agenda items, and we have no one in the queue.
And we have none. Excellent. With that, I believe we are done for today and can adjourn. Thank you all.